In the mid-1980s, Nigeria was a nation under pressure. Military rule governed daily life. The economy was unstable, and public trust in institutions was fragile. Amid this uncertainty, one name began to dominate conversations across Bendel State, and soon, across the country. A name that would become synonymous with fear, mystery, and unchecked violence. That name was Lawrence Nomanyagbon Anini. For many Nigerians, Anini was not just a criminal. He was a nightmare that refused to end. Benin City, the heart of Bendel State, was once known for its vibrant markets, busy nightlife, and strong sense of community. But by 1985, everything had changed. Streets emptied earlier than usual. Shop owners closed before sunset. Drivers avoided certain routes entirely, especially at night. Gunshots became a familiar sound. Each robbery followed a similar pattern: swift, violent, devastating. Banks were stormed. Businesses were looted. Police officers were attacked without hesitation. Innocent bystanders were often caught in the crossfire. And after every attack, one rumor followed. It was Anini. What truly set Lawrence Anini apart was not just the violence of his crimes, but the myth that surrounded him. Stories spread rapidly, by word of mouth, through newspapers, and across radio broadcasts. People whispered that bullets could not kill him. Others claimed he possessed powerful charms that made him invisible to the police. Some believed he had connections within law enforcement and the military, giving him advance warning before raids. Each successful escape reinforced the legend. The police would announce an operation. Roadblocks would be set up. And yet, Anini would vanish, sometimes minutes before officers arrived. The more the police failed, the more invincible he seemed. Fear slowly turned into fascination. Children sang songs about him. Adults debated his powers. Some even admired his boldness, seeing him as a rebel in a corrupt system. But behind the myths was a brutal reality. People were dying. While rumors painted Anini as supernatural, his victims paid the real price. Families mourned, loved ones lost to gunfire. Businesses collapsed after robberies. Police officers lived with the knowledge that they were direct targets. The violence was not selective. Anyone could be next. Hospitals treated victims of armed robbery almost daily. Funeral processions became common sights. The tension on the streets was thick, almost suffocating. For ordinary Nigerians, survival meant constant vigilance. Travel was planned carefully. Night movements were avoided. Trust between strangers disappeared. Anini was no longer just committing crimes. He was disrupting daily life. Public confidence in the Nigerian police force collapsed. Citizens accused them of incompetence, corruption, and cowardice. Some officers resigned. Others transferred out of Bendel State entirely. The military government could not afford the perception of weakness. Special units were deployed. Intelligence operations intensified. Informants were recruited. For the first time, capturing Anini became a national priority. Behind the scenes, investigators began dismantling the myth. They tracked his movements, studied his associates, analyzed patterns in his attacks. Slowly, the truth emerged. Anini was not invincible. He was a man, bold, reckless, and increasingly desperate. By late 1986, pressure on Anini's gang was mounting. Some members were arrested. Others were killed in shootouts. Informants began to talk, motivated by fear or the promise of reduced sentences. Anini himself grew careless. The same confidence that once protected him now exposed him. He trusted too few people, moved constantly, relied on outdated methods. The myth that once shielded him became a liability. Then came December 1986. Acting on credible intelligence, police units surrounded a hideout in Benin City. This time there was no leak, no warning, no escape route. When officers moved in, gunfire erupted. The shootout was intense, but brief. Anini was hit. He fell, and in that moment, the myth shattered. Bullets had worked. Bleeding and wounded, Lawrence Anini was arrested and dragged into public view. Photographs of his capture spread rapidly. Nigeria saw the truth, not a spirit, not a demon, just a man. Fear gave way to disbelief. Anini's trial was swift and highly publicized. The evidence was overwhelming: eyewitness accounts, recovered weapons, confessions. For the government, this was more than a criminal case. It was a statement. Lawrence Anini was found guilty of multiple counts of armed robbery and murder. He was sentenced to death by firing squad. In 1987, the sentence was carried out. With Anini gone, the streets slowly returned to life. Shops reopened, checkpoints were relaxed. The constant fear began to fade. But the story did not end there. Anini became a case study in Nigerian history, exposing poverty, corruption, weak institutions, and the dangerous power of myth. Some saw him as evil. Anini became a case study in Nigerian history, exposing poverty, corruption, weak institutions, and the dangerous power of myth. Some saw him as evil, others as a product of his environment, but all agreed on one thing: his impact was undeniable. Anini became a case study in Nigerian history, exposing poverty, corruption, weak institutions, and the dangerous power of myth. Some saw him as evil, others as a product of his environment, but all agreed on one thing: his impact was undeniable.